From the moment we hold our child for the first time, we make a silent vow, a promise to protect them, to provide for them, to give them a life better than our own. We focus on the tangible, a safe home, healthy food, a good school. We believe that if we get these things right, we have succeeded. But there is another legacy we pass down, often without ever realizing it. An invisible curriculum taught in the quiet moments, through our sighs, our worries, and the stories we tell ourselves about the world. This is the unseen inheritance, the language of worry. A mother is on a playground. Her daughter climbs confidently up the ladder to the slide. The mother's body is tense, her hand flies to her mouth. "Be careful. That's too high," she calls out, her voice tight with anxiety. The daughter, who is beaming with pride, now looks down with sudden uncertainty. It's the language we use, not in our direct lessons but in our offhand comments. Our cautions that come from a place of fear, not of guidance. We think we are teaching them to be safe, but we are also teaching them that the world is a dangerous place and they are not capable. The ghosts of the past. A father helps his son with math homework. The son struggles with a problem. The father's jaw tightens. "It's not that hard. Come on, think," he says, his frustration palpable. He sees his son's confusion and is instantly transported back to his own childhood, feeling stupid at the kitchen table. He is no longer just teaching math. He is fighting a ghost from his own past. It's the ghosts of our own past failures and humiliations that sit at the dinner table with us. When our child faces a challenge we once failed, our reaction is often not to their struggle, but to the echo of our own. We are trying to correct our old story through them, making them pay for a mistake that was never theirs to fix. The blueprint of relationships. Parents are having a tense, quiet discussion about bills. They think the children are asleep, but their young son is listening at the top of the stairs. He hears the sharp tone, the weight of the silence that follows. He doesn't understand the word mortgage, but he understands the language of stress perfectly. It's the emotional atmosphere of our homes, the blueprint for all future relationships. They learn how to handle conflict by watching us. They learn how to love, how to argue, how to worry, by our example. The silent treatment teaches them about connection. An uncontrolled outburst teaches them about anger. Our relationship with money, with stress, with each other, this is their first and most powerful textbook. This unseen inheritance is not about blame. Every parent is carrying a weight they did not choose. You inherited your own unseen legacy from those who came before you. This is not an accusation. It is an awakening. To see this pattern is the first and most profound step toward change. Because what remains unseen rules us. But what we bring into the light, we can begin to heal. The question is not if you are passing on an inheritance. The question is, what kind of inheritance are you consciously creating? We've seen the unseen inheritance. Now we must name the currency. It's not money that changes hands in this silent transaction. It's something far more precious. It's paid for with the very building blocks of a child's spirit. The currency of self-worth. A girl, about 10, proudly shows her mother a painting. It's vibrant, imaginative, full of life. The mother, preoccupied with cleaning, glances at it. "It's lovely, honey. But look at these messy lines outside the edges. And the sky isn't really purple, is it? Let's try to be a little neater next time." The girl's shoulders slump. She looks at her painting and now only sees the flaws. This is the currency of self-worth, paid for with constant, subtle corrections and the burden of perfection. The child learns that her inherent, messy, creative expression is not as valuable as flawlessness. She begins to pay for the parent's own ingrained criticality, a debt that compounds over a lifetime into a deep-seated feeling of not being good enough. The currency of joy. A father and his teenage son are fishing. The sun is shining. The water is calm. The son is relaxed, enjoying the peace. The father is tense, focused solely on catching fish. "You're not baiting the hook right. You're scaring them away. Come on, we haven't caught anything all day. This is a waste of a Saturday." The son's relaxed posture stiffens. The joy of the moment is gone, replaced by performance anxiety. This is the currency of joy and spontaneity, paid for when every activity becomes a task to be mastered, a goal to be achieved. The child learns that the value of an experience is only in its outcome, not in the process. He pays for the parent's productivity anxiety, learning to monetize his own leisure time until he can no longer truly relax. The currency of trust. A mother is driving her child to a friend's sleepover. She spends the entire ride voicing her anxieties. Are you sure their parents will be home? Remember, don't eat any food you're allergic to. Text me every hour. I don't trust that older brother they mentioned. The child, who is excited, now looks out the window with a knot of anxiety in her stomach. This is the currency of trust and security, paid for with a constant narrative of danger and suspicion. The child learns that the world is not safe and that people cannot be trusted. She pays for the parent's own unhealed trauma or pervasive fear, inheriting a world that feels perpetually threatening. The currency of autonomy. A young adult is at a family dinner. He tentatively brings up his dream of becoming a graphic designer. His father, an engineer, immediately scoffs. Art? That's not a real career. You'll be broke. I didn't work this hard for you to throw your future away. You need a stable, respectable profession. The young man's face closes off. His dream is dismissed as a fantasy. This is the currency of autonomy and purpose, paid for when a child's dreams are treated as extensions of a parent's unmet ambitions or fears. They are forced to live a life chosen for them, paying for their parents' regrets or narrow definitions of success with their own passion and potential. We must understand, we are not malicious bankers. We are often trying to protect them. We use the currency of fear because we are afraid. We demand perfection because we feel imperfect. We clip their wings because ours were once clipped. But intention does not erase the cost. Every time we make them pay this way, we are withdrawing from their emotional bank account, leaving them with a deficit they will spend years, perhaps a lifetime, trying to fill. Of all the inheritances we pass down, the financial one can feel the most concrete. It has numbers, due dates, and a relentless, pressing weight. We see it every time we open a bank statement or look at a paycheck. This is the baggage of our financial past. The dreams we had to defer. The risks that didn't pay off. The security we couldn't build. And in our anxiety, we can mistakenly turn this personal history into our children's future obligation. We move into a series of vignettes that show the different ways this debt is collected. The weight of worry. A family is at the dinner table. The children are chatting excitedly about a school trip. The parent, distracted and stressed, snaps. Do you have any idea how much that costs? Money doesn't grow on trees. The children fall silent, their excitement replaced by a vague sense of guilt for wanting anything at all. This is not teaching financial responsibility. This is teaching financial anxiety. The child learns that money is a source of shame, stress, and conflict. They pay for the parents' financial stress with their own innocence, learning that their normal desires are a burden on the family. The vicarious dream. A high school student is in a guidance counselor's office. She's looking at brochures for culinary school, her eyes alight with passion. At home, her father pushes a brochure for an engineering program toward her. This is the safe choice, he says, his voice firm. I never had this opportunity. You need a real career, not a hobby. You don't want to struggle like I did. Here, the child is forced to pay for the parents' unmet ambitions or past struggles. They are handed a blueprint for a life designed to soothe the parents' fear, not to fulfill the child's purpose. The debt is paid with their own passion, trading a calling for what is deemed secure. The guilt-induced retirement plan. A young adult in his first apartment is on the phone. His mother is speaking. After all we sacrificed sending you to that college, now that you have a good job, it would be nice if you could help out more. We're not getting any younger, and your father's retirement isn't what we hoped. The young man looks at his own meager budget, feeling a heavy chain of obligation tighten. This is perhaps the most direct form of collection, making a child feel personally responsible for their parents' financial future as a form of repayment for their upbringing. The debt is paid with their financial autonomy and future security, often before they've even had a chance to build their own. It is crucial to separate teaching from burdening. Teaching a child about budgeting, saving, and the value of work is a gift. Burdening them with the emotional weight of your financial anxiety or your unmet dreams is a debt. Your financial journey, with its mistakes and its lessons, belongs to you. Your child's financial life is their own territory to map. You can be their guide, giving them the tools you learned the hard way to earn. But do not make them carry the baggage from your journey on theirs. The most valuable financial inheritance you can leave is not a large bank account, but a child who understands money without being ruled by the fear of it. A child who is free to build their own dreams, not just pay for yours. Some of the most damaging debts we pass on are the ones we wrap as protection. We call it being realistic when we are teaching fear. We call it building character when we are breaking their spirit. These are the interest payments on our own unhealed wounds. When we fail to confront our past pain, it doesn't vanish. It goes underground, a silent saboteur in our psyche. And from that hidden place, it writes the rules for our children's lives. We move into a series of powerful, psychologically nuanced vignettes. The wound of abandonment. A mother tucks her son into bed. He's had a nightmare. "Can you stay until I fall asleep?" he asks. The mother, whose own parents were emotionally distant, feels a familiar panic, a suffocating sense of being needed too much. "You're a big boy now," she says, her voice stiffening as she retreats behind a wall of independence. "You have to learn to handle these things on your own." She turns off the light and leaves quickly. The boy learns a brutal lesson. Needing comfort is a weakness that drives people away. The cost of an unhealed fear of engulfment or abandonment is a child's sense of secure attachment. They pay by learning to suppress their needs, to become prematurely self-reliant, and to build walls that will later isolate them in their own relationships. The wound of betrayal. A father picks up his teenage daughter from a party. He smells a faint hint of perfume on her. "Whose is that?" "Were you with a boy?" he demands, his voice sharp with suspicion. His own history of betrayal fuels the interrogation. "I need to see your phone." You can't trust people until they've proven themselves. The daughter, who is simply hugging a friend goodbye, feels her innocence criminalized. The cost of an unhealed breach of trust is a child's capacity for healthy vulnerability. They pay for their parents' betrayal by being taught that love requires surveillance, that intimacy is dangerous, and that their own instincts cannot be trusted. The wound of worthlessness. A child brings home a test with a 98%. Beaming, they show their parent. The parent, haunted by their own lifelong feeling of never measuring up, points to the 2 missed points. "What happened here? Were you not paying attention? Next time, you can get 100. The child's pride evaporates, replaced by the sinking feeling that their best is never, ever good enough. The cost of an unhealed sense of inadequacy is a child's intrinsic self-worth. They pay by inheriting a relentless inner critic, a drive for perfection that strangles joy, and a foundational belief that they are inherently flawed. The wound of neglect. A child falls and scrapes their knee, crying. The parent, who is never comforted as a child, freezes. They don't know how to soothe, so they intellectualize. "It's just a scratch. You're fine. Let's clean it up and stop the crying." They tend to the physical wound with clinical efficiency, but are completely absent for the emotional one. The child learns that their feelings are invalid, messy, and best dealt with alone. The cost of an unhealed emotional neglect is a child's emotional literacy. They pay by becoming alienated from their own feelings, struggling to identify or express sadness, fear, or even joy, leading to a lifetime of emotional confusion and isolation. The scene shifts to an image of a tree. One half is vibrant and healthy, the other half is gnarled, its branches twisted, its leaves sparse. The two halves share a single trunk. This is the true cost. It's not a single event, but a compounding interest that shapes their entire being. It dictates their choice of partners, their performance at work, their ability to parent their own children. Your unhealed wound becomes the script for their life, often without a single line of dialogue ever being spoken about it. Healing your wounds is not a self-indulgent act. It is a radical, generous, and necessary intervention into the future. It is the process of stopping the emotional debt cycle, ensuring the compounding interest of your pain does not bankrupt your child's chance at a free and whole life. Awareness without action is just self-criticism in a new costume. Seeing the pattern is the first step. Now comes the work, the quiet, courageous, and ongoing labor of breaking the chain. This is not about blaming your past, but about taking radical responsibility for your present. This work is not for the faint of heart. It means getting your hands dirty in the soil of your own history. It means being willing to uproot old, choking beliefs to give yourself and your child room to grow. We move into a series of clear, actionable steps, each with a visual representation. Become an archaeologist of yourself. First, become an archaeologist of your own reactions. When you feel a surge of anger, fear, or anxiety toward your child, push pause. Don't act. Get curious. Ask yourself, what is this really about? Is it their messy room, or the shame you felt when your parents criticized your space? Is it their backtalk, or the powerlessness you felt when you weren't allowed to speak? Find the root. Name the old ghost. Learn the language of the clean apology. I need to apologize, she says. When I rushed out of your room after your nightmare, it wasn't about you. I felt panicked because I wasn't taught how to handle big feelings. That was my stuff, and I'm sorry I let it make you feel alone. Your feelings are always welcome. A clean apology has 3 parts: the acknowledgement of the specific hurt, the taking of responsibility without excuse, and the plan for change. It sounds like, I was wrong too. I am sorry I made you feel. I am working on this so I can do better. This does not make you weak. It teaches your child that accountability is a strength and that repair is always possible. Build your support system. You can't dig a grave alone. You cannot do this in isolation. The voice in your head built the old prison. It can't provide the key. This is the work of seeking support. Therapy is not for broken people. It's for people brave enough to get a guide for their inner world. Find a community, a mentor, a professional, anyone who can hold a compassionate mirror up to you and help you see your blind spots. Redefine your identity outside of parent. A tree with deep, strong roots can withstand storms without fearing for every branch. Nurture your own identity. What brings you joy, separate from your children? What are you passionate about? When you have a self, you have more to give. You are not just a source of authority and provision. You are a model of a full, engaged human being. This work is not a one-time event. It is a practice. You will have bad days. You will fall back into old patterns. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is that when you stumble, and you have the tools and the compassion to get back up, apologize, and try again. This is how the chain breaks. Not with a single, dramatic snap, but with the daily, deliberate choice to heal. You are not just raising a child. You are reparenting yourself. And in doing so, you are freeing them both. What happens when you do the work? When you face your ghosts, apologize with sincerity, and tend to your own roots, the inheritance changes. It transforms from a ledger of debts into a treasury of freedoms. This is the new legacy, not one you leave in a will, but one you build daily through your presence. The inheritance of self-worth. The same girl from Chapter 2 shows her mother a new painting. It's still messy. The sky is a wild, imaginative purple. The mother puts down her phone. Truly looks. Wow, she says, her voice full of genuine wonder. The energy in this is incredible. I love how you used color. Tell me about this part. The girl beams, her confidence solidifying. Her worth is not conditional on perfection. This is the inheritance of unshakable self-worth. It is built not on achievement, but on the certainty that their authentic self is celebrated and beloved. They learn they are enough exactly as they are. The inheritance of emotional mastery. The teenage son from Chapter 4 is visibly upset after a disagreement with a friend. Instead of shutting down or being told to get over it, his father sits with him. You look like you're carrying something heavy. Do you want to talk about it or just have some quiet company? The son learns that his feelings are valid, manageable, and do not have to be faced alone. This is the inheritance of emotional intelligence. They learn the language of their own hearts. They inherit the tools to navigate sadness, anger, and fear without being consumed by them. They are given a compass for their inner world. The inheritance of authentic purpose. The young adult from Chapter 3 is now in a college dorm room. On the wall are sketches for a video game, his passion. He's on the phone with his father. The engineering program is a solid backup plan, the young man says. His father replies, "Your game design portfolio is your main plan." It's incredible. Let's talk about how we make that happen. This is the inheritance of authentic purpose. They are free to explore their own curiosities and build a life aligned with their unique talents and joys, supported but not directed. Their path is their own to walk. The inheritance of secure love. We see the mother from the Wound of Abandonment vignette. Now, she is sitting on the edge of her younger son's bed, reading him a story. When she finishes, he asks her to stay. She smiles, feeling a warmth in her chest, not panic. "Of course," she says, "I love this time with you." She stays until his breathing evens out in sleep, both of them secure in a bond that does not suffocate, but sustains. This is the inheritance of secure attachment. They learn that love is a safe harbor, not a negotiation. That needing others is a strength, and that relationships are built on consistency and trust, not on anxiety and control. This new inheritance has no price tag, but its value is infinite. It is the freedom to fail without being a failure. The freedom to feel without being ashamed. The freedom to choose without being disloyal. The freedom to be fully, completely themselves. You cannot give them a perfect life, free from all hardship. But you can give them this, a self, whole and integrated. A spirit, resilient and kind. A heart, capable of both giving and receiving love. This is the legacy that echoes for generations. This is the wealth that truly matters. We end where all true change begins, with a vision, not of who your child is today, but of the adult they will become. Imagine them years from now. Perhaps they are tucking their own child into bed. Perhaps they are simply reflecting on their life, on their childhood. What is the story they tell? Will they speak of a home filled with tension they couldn't name? Will they talk about the constant, low hum of anxiety, or the weight of expectations that were never theirs to carry? Will they say, "My parents loved me, but I always felt I was paying for something I never bought"? The parent begins to write. We hear the scratch of the pen, and the narrator's voice becomes the words being written. I hope when you face a challenge, you do not hear my critical voice, but your own resilient one. I hope when you make a mistake, you feel curiosity, not shame. I hope you enter relationships with an open heart, not a fortified wall, because you learned with me that love is safe. This is the letter you are writing every single day, with your actions, your apologies, and your willingness to grow. You are not aiming for a flawless manuscript. You are writing a story of realness. A story where the main character, your child, is loved for who they are, not for who you needed them to be. Let them say, "My parents weren't perfect, but they were real. They loved me enough to face their own demons, so that mine could be smaller. They paid their own debts and set me free." The work is hard. The journey is long. There will be days you stumble. But let this vision be your compass. Let this future be your fuel. This is the final and most important message. Don't make your children pay for your mistakes. Instead, pay the price yourself, through your own growth, your own healing, your own courageous heart. Grant them the priceless, enduring gift of a life that is truly, wholly their own.